Hey y'all, Trey Milano back up in this thing. And today, I didn't feel like watching the whole thing, the debate with Tim Walz and JD Vance. I watched about 20 minutes of it and it got up on out of it. I'm like, why was this debate longer than the presidential one, right? But I just want to see a little recap. So I'm gonna watch the five. I tend to like them when, you know, they come on. So like and subscribe and let's get into this video here. So let's see what they're talking about today. Honestly, I feel like the other news channels, a lot of them are bought and sold. So we gotta we gotta pick and choose which ones we actually want to listen to. All right, so let me present my screen if it will let me. All right, here we go. All right, let's see what they have to say about this whole mess of a situation we're in.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dana Perino, along with Judge Janine Pirro, Harold Ford Jr., Jesse Waters, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. So the Democrats' assistant coach fumbling the ball at the big VP debate, Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz, striking a more civil tone as they tangled over the big issues facing the country. And it turns out shielding your candidate from media scrutiny is just not the best strategy. And it left him a little bit rusty when compared to Vance.
A nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment.
Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos. Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line.
When we start to see that type of fickleness around Hochul.
If you blame Donald Trump, who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate, not mine.
I sat in that office with those San Diego parents. I've become friends with school shooters. You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't wear masks.
Walz has faced credibility issues from stolen valor claims to embellishing his military record.
Yeah, but all I could think of was, I'm like, why does Walz keep, like, I literally only watched the first 20 minutes and he was like, he kept talking about Trump. Trump is bad. Trump is this, Trump is that. And JD was actually combating that and saying, okay, cool, you saying that, but here's what we're going to do. Here's what's going on. Here's what we need to do. Right. And so, no, I don't trust. And doesn't he look weird? He just looks at the camera. He's like he looks like, I don't know. He looks freaked out to me. He looks like he's been through like a lot of stuff in the industry that he's in. You know how Judge Joe Brown said Kamala was a prostitute? I kind of get that energy from Tim Walz too. Not that he's a prostitute, but I'm saying I feel like he's done some P Diddy-ness. Some P Diddy-ness. That's just my opinion, okay? Now the other guy, JD Vance, he looks normal to me. I don't know. He has kind eyes. I don't know, y'all. So, and while we are paused really quick, just want to give a little quick commercial break. Because SoFi is offering an exclusive deal. When you sign up for a SoFi bank account, all you need to do is deposit $50 and you'll receive $25 instantly in your account as a welcome bonus. It's quick, simple, and a great way to start saving. It's actually really been helping me, honestly. And on top of that, for every friend or family member that you refer who also opens a SoFi account and deposits that $50, you'll earn $75. So there's no limit to how many people you can refer. So the more you share, the more you can earn. So check out the link down below for a SoFi account. All right, let's get back into this, y'all.
And last night, he stumbled over whether he was in Hong Kong during the Tiananmen Square protest, despite many outlets reporting that he wasn't.
Can you explain that discrepancy?
My community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this, what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests.
Governor Walz had an
Were you?
entire night to sleep on
I
those
don't know.
comments. His cleanup job wasn't that great.
Right, that seemed like a bold-faced lie. Just like he was lying on CNN talking about didn't he say he was in the military or the army or something, and that was a bold-faced lie? And he said it was some type of vocabulary error. That's not a pronunciation or vocabulary error. That's a bold-faced lie. See, this is the thing, guys. I don't like to be gaslit like that. Like, you told a bold-faced lie, and you're trying to package it and reroute it into something else. No, you just told a bold-faced lie, baby. That's all. But okay, let's see.
Look, I have my dates wrong. I was in Hong Kong and China in 1989. That move from Hong Kong into China, it was profound for me. That was the summer of democracy. I said it's where I understood how sacred democracy was.
Okay.
All right, Greg Gutfeld, haven't heard from you yet, and looking forward to it.
He was unprepared, but why is that his fault? Democrats don't have to be prepared. They're usually operating under the assumption that it's going to be an easier ride for them than if you were a Republican. And he's like, what's up? What's with all this stuff? The media tried to lower expectations for Walz, and they were right to do that now that we see how he did. But they overplayed Vance's unlikability. So you were expecting something that wasn't charming, smart, or steady. So the media actually helped Vance by amplifying his unlikability. The first time you saw Vance was last night after a steady diet of media caricatures. What a shock it must have been. Right, he's not weird. He's not mean. I mean, this guy came out and just shows you how the media lies to you. The media portrays those outside their bubble falsely. And then when you finally see the reality, then your eyes are open to the things they say. Vance also did something good.
Shit is crazy.
He knew this wasn't a political talk show where you try to score points by making statements loudly that will end up being retweeted. He wasn't going for the dopamine. He was going for the depth. And that was his mission. And his mission showed a contrast between steady and unsteady. He showed that a silencer is just as deadly as a shotgun. I think what is really cowardly, though, is the mistake Democrats made by not choosing Shapiro. You know, they might lose Pennsylvania. They definitely lost that debate because they wanted a guy who wasn't a Jew, you know, and now you've got a non-Jew who's frantic, nervous, chaotic liar. I think this was a real slap in the face to the Harris campaign. No offense to her husband.
Judge, I want to get to you after you watch this. This is the liberal media who was forced to praise J.D. Vance. Call for number 4.
Walz did seem unsteady. And frankly, what I saw in Walz is somebody who has not faced questions on a national stage since he became the Democratic nominee. In contrast, J.D. Vance was very smooth.
I was getting texts from Democrats, panicked, quite frankly, who were saying, wow, he's really moderating himself on a lot of these issues. He's the most likable he has ever been.
He seemed at many moments to be reasonable. Walz did not seem prepared for it.
I mean, a lot about this debate tonight was weird. There were uncomfortable, cringy moments. There were so many niceties on that debate stage tonight. I am just kind of like, well, if you agree so much with J.D. Vance, why should they vote for you?
All right, Judge, take it away.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, it's clear that even they understood that J.D. Vance was solid. He was friendly. He was polite. He was disciplined. And he was the kind of guy that for the first time, and by the way, 88% of the American people said that this was a debate that was civil and that they enjoyed. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. And that's because of J.D. Vance. When they tried to cut him off, and we'll talk about that later, or when Walz lied, he was polite. This is a guy who's going to reach across the aisle. This is not only a great vice president, but a great president one day.
Like,
and I don't want to get into a lot of the small stuff, but I got to tell you, I was exhausted watching Walz. I mean, it was like this, that, eyes punched out, turn around, right down. It was almost like he was waiting for the feds to come in and arrest him or something. I was like exhausted. But J.D. Vance, he so impressed me. And I think he impressed everybody. This is a guy who's going to try to solve problems. He didn't fight. He didn't play dirty. I just want to say one more thing about Walz. You know, being a knucklehead doesn't excuse you from being a serial liar.
Woo.
And I was
Okay,
saying
so
how
I'm not crazy.
that
All
Eddie,
right, somebody, at
Haskell
least
from
one
Leave
other
It to
person
Beaver was a
sees
knucklehead,
what I can
right?
see. Because this shit is
lying about
this shit is
things
a
that are
joke
pretty
to me.
basic, and then not having the ability to land an answer at your most important moment showed, I think, why the Democrats were nervous.
Yeah, and he's just so unserious to me. Like what if, let's say something happened to Kamala, if Kamala gets in there, please God no. But if she gets in there and he has to be president now, that would be crazy. Like, he's just as unconfident as her. He's just as like, no, them bug eyes. Like, something's not right. Something in the milk is not clean. And I feel like overall, this is a way to show the American people, because there are some people who are very much stuck on the demonic. Look, I said demonic, and okay, that's a Freudian slip, and I mean that too, allegedly. But the Democratic, they're stuck over there. They're stuck on Kamala. They're stuck. They're like over there. Trump is evil. So they're just like over there. I think if they can't see just with their own two eyes who is who and what is what, and we actually vote Kamala in, I think the hell that's gonna come with it, I think we deserve it at that point. Cause like it's just like what? It just doesn't make any sense. So yeah, let's see.
Nervous last night. How do you feel today?
So good to be back with everybody. I think the analysis that's been around the table, I think it was a very civil debate, and I think Tim Walz contributed to the civility also. But I think that the round robin we did with some of the other reporters and journalists, who I thought were honest about it. The three of us were on last night. And I said, there are 5 things I think you have to do when you are in a debate like this. To be likable and optimistic. You got to show strength and capability. You got to be smart. You got to be relatable. And ultimately, you got to show that you're presidential. J.D. Vance, you're right, Judge. He was coming from a little bit of a deficit because of some of the media characterizations, as you said, Greg. And he, you walked away. I didn't agree with him on a lot of things, but I didn't think he was a bad guy. I just think as a guy that I don't agree with on things. But in terms of a person, a father, someone who's decent, and they agreed on childcare, they agreed on guns, they agreed even in some other areas involving foreign policy, but they disagreed on some other things. I thought on the substance, JD was good on immigration and the border. He was good on the economy. He asked serious questions about why isn't the vice president doing this now? And I thought that after they took the first commercial break, Walz was good coming back as he got his stride on abortion. He talked about health care, and if we undo the Affordable Care, what happens? I thought JD didn't have time and substantive answers. They weren't as smooth as some of the others. And finally, I think the question he asked about, will you accept the outcome of the election? Do you believe that President Trump does? And he didn't answer that. But you gotta, as you look at this thing overall, then you gotta say that he got the better of it. That being Senator Vance.
Did you wear a tie like this for a special occasion? Post-debate
Is this a special occasion tie?
I mean, it feels like happy. Yeah, exactly.
Unlike you, is what we're saying.
See, that's a happy one.
This tie reflects the mood of the country. We are pleasantly surprised. How many times could you say that after watching these debates? Because there was the J.D. Vance hoax that was destroyed last night. We were told that this guy was a sketchball. And then many Americans, especially women, saw J.D. Vance last night, and they thought, this seems like the kind of guy you can bring home to your parents. He's smooth, he's polished, he's reasonable, he's civil, he's smart, he's humble. Everything that they said about him was completely the opposite. So he had a great night, but Trump even had a better night because Trump chose him. And remember, the first Trump term didn't pick the best people. A lot of people are now reassured that Trump is picking the right people this time. And in a race that is this tight, you know how they say Trump has like 94% of Republicans? Mm-hmm. Those 6% of Republicans, you call them Nikki Haley people, never Trumpers, Christie Rock, they love J.D. Vance last night. I had so many texts from people like that saying, wow, that they long for, that Trump doesn't bring to the table, but that can bring independents, women with college degrees, and moderate Republicans back. So he added to the ticket and created momentum after the Democrats have had a real bad last 4 or 5 days. Walz seemed nice, but didn't have a story to tell. Just seemed discombobulated, and the media hated him because he wasn't nasty enough. Their whole goal is to make Trump the devil. And Western working class types of guys agree that the working class is kind of getting hosed by corporate America and by the powers that be. And that was really nice to see. That scared the hell out of the left because they don't want to see agreement. They want to see blood. So he made 2 huge mistakes. Everybody knows what they are. I'm friends with the school shooter. I have no idea. Vance, 20 years younger than him. Does everybody know in the audience that Greg and Walz are the same age? He's the new generation. So a lot of people that know that Trump's termed out after 4 are going to look at this guy who can convey the American first message with an agreeable tone. They say this is a guy for the future.
You're telling me, Walt?
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News.
He does look a lot younger than Walz, absolutely. But yeah, that shit is crazy. If we vote for that cackling woman, but it's like, who knows? We probably will vote for Trump, but then who knows with these illegals and whatnot going on? They're having them vote. But overall, I try to stay optimistic. So I feel like whatever happens, we'll be okay. We're more protected than we think, I feel. So, all right, y'all, like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow, and have a good one. And remember, check out that SoFi link down below. Get yourself a little extra bank account. I have like 5 bank accounts, so you can always have an extra one. All right, have a good one, y'all.